The halls of Forrester Creations had always carried a certain kind of energy. There was the rush of designers moving between offices, the constant pressure of deadlines, the quiet competition behind closed doors, and the unmistakable feeling that every important conversation could change someone's life. But on this particular afternoon, Carter Walton barely noticed any of it. He walked through the building with one thought on his mind: Daphne. He had been trying to give her space, trying not to push too hard after everything they had learned about their chances of having a child naturally, but the distance between them was becoming unbearable. They were husband and wife now, and Carter refused to believe that something this painful should be faced separately. He finally tracked Daphne down in one of the quieter offices at Forrester, where she stood near the window with her arms folded tightly across her chest. She didn't turn when he entered. She had already heard his footsteps. "Carter, please," she said quietly. "Not here." But Carter closed the door behind him. "Then where, Daphne? Because every time I try to talk to you at home, you find a reason to leave the room. Every time I bring this up, you tell me you're tired. We can't keep pretending this conversation isn't waiting for us." Daphne turned around slowly, and the pain in her expression stopped him for a moment. "I'm not pretending," she replied. "I'm trying to survive it." Carter softened immediately. He hadn't come to fight. He had come because he loved her. "That's exactly why I'm here," he told her. "You shouldn't have to survive this alone." Daphne looked away. She hated how calm he sounded. She hated how patient he was trying to be, because somewhere inside her, she had convinced herself that his kindness came from pity. The doctor's words had been repeating in her mind for days. Her ovarian function was extremely poor. Becoming pregnant naturally would be incredibly difficult. Every time Daphne remembered the appointment, she felt as though something had been taken from her. She had gone into the consultation believing they were simply beginning a new chapter. Instead, she had walked out wondering whether she had already failed Carter before they had even truly begun building their family. Carter slowly stepped closer. "I've been doing research," he admitted. Daphne's face tightened. "Of course you have. I wanted to understand our options." "Our options," she repeated bitterly. "You mean my problem?" Carter frowned. "No. I mean our situation." "That's easy for you to say." "Daphne." "No, Carter. Don't stand there and make this sound like some business problem we can solve with enough meetings and paperwork. This isn't Forrester. You can't negotiate your way around this." Carter took a breath and forced himself not to react defensively. "I know that. Do you?" "Yes," he said firmly. "I know you're hurting. I know you're scared. But I also know the doctor didn't say everything was impossible." Daphne stared at him. She knew what he was about to say, and she already hated hearing it. "She said your ovaries barely function," Carter continued carefully, "but she also said there's still a possibility you could carry a pregnancy through IVF. We could explore donor eggs. We could talk to specialists. We could look at every option before deciding anything." Daphne laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "Listen to you." "What?" "You say it like it's simple. IVF. Specialists. Donor eggs. Just choose an option and move forward." "I never said it would be simple. You're acting like it. I'm trying to give us hope." "I don't want hope right now," she suddenly shouted. The words echoed through the office. Carter froze. Daphne's breathing became uneven as she turned away again. She pressed her fingers against her forehead, trying to calm herself. Carter lowered his voice. "Okay." "No," Daphne replied, tears beginning to form. "Don't do that." "Do what?" "Don't become understanding, Carter. Don't become the perfect husband who says everything exactly right because he thinks his wife is falling apart. I'm not saying things because I think you're falling apart. I'm saying them because I love you." Daphne shook her head. "You wanted a family. I want you. You wanted children. I wanted children with you. That is not the same thing." Carter stepped closer. "It is to me." Daphne spun around. "No, it isn't. You dreamed about being a father. You've talked about it. I've seen your face when you talk about children. I know what this meant to you, Carter. And now suddenly you're supposed to tell me that none of it matters. I'm telling you that you matter more." She looked at him with disbelief. "Stop trying to be nice." "I'm not trying to be nice." Yes, you are. I'm trying to tell you the truth. The truth, Daphne demanded. The truth is that my body may not be able to give you the family you wanted. Carter's jaw tightened. Do not talk about yourself like that.
Why?
Because it makes you uncomfortable? Because you are not something that failed. Daphne's eyes filled completely now. You don't know what this feels like. Carter was silent. You don't, she repeated, her voice breaking. You can sympathize. You can read articles. You can sit across from doctors and hold my hand. But you don't know what it's like to hear someone calmly explain that something your body is supposed to do may never happen. You don't know what it's like to go home and stare at yourself in the mirror and wonder why you're not enough. Carter moved forward instinctively, but Daphne immediately held up a hand. Don't, he stopped. She wiped away a tear quickly, angry that he had seen it. I feel like a failure. Daphne. I do. And I know you're going to tell me not to feel that way, but you can't control it. Neither can I. Every time I think about you, I think about what I'm taking away from you. You're taking nothing away from me. Yes, I am. No, you're not. How can you say that? Because I chose you. His voice finally rose, and Daphne fell silent. Carter took a slow breath. I chose you, Daphne. Not some imaginary version of our future. Not a guarantee of children. Not a promise that everything would be easy. I married you because I love you. That is the foundation. Everything else comes after that. Daphne stared at him, but her expression remained guarded. Carter continued. Would I love to be a father?
Yes.
I'm not going to lie to you. Would I love to see you holding our baby? Absolutely. But if that doesn't happen the way we imagined, it doesn't mean our marriage failed. It doesn't mean you failed. It means life gave us something painful to deal with. Daphne shook her head. And eventually you'll resent me.
No.
You don't know that. I know myself. People say things when they're trying to protect someone. And people push away the person they love when they're scared, Carter replied. Daphne's expression sharpened. He immediately regretted how it sounded. That's what you think I'm doing? She asked. I think you're hurting so much that you'd rather decide what I feel for me than believe what I'm telling you. Daphne stared at him in silence. Carter spoke more softly. You keep telling me I'm disappointed. You keep telling me I'm only staying because I feel sorry for you. You keep telling me I'll regret this. But you never ask me what I actually feel. Because I already know.
No.
You know what you're afraid I feel. The words hit Daphne harder than she expected. She looked down. Carter continued. What I actually feel is terrified that you're shutting me out. I'm scared that this problem is going to destroy something beautiful between us because you're trying to protect me from a future I haven't asked to be protected from. Daphne folded her arms more tightly. And what happens if IVF doesn't work? Then we face that. What happens if I can't carry a child? We face that. What happens if every option fails? We face that too. You make everything sound so easy. It isn't easy. But we don't have to know the ending today. Daphne closed her eyes. She wanted to believe him. That was the worst part. She wanted desperately to believe that Carter could love her exactly the same no matter what happened, but the fear inside her kept translating his reassurance into sympathy. Carter cautiously stepped closer again. Daphne, look at me.
She did.
You are my family. Her lips trembled. You, he repeated. Before a baby. Before IVF. Before any doctor gives us any answer. You are my family. Daphne's expression crumbled for a second, but then she forced herself back into control. You say that now. I'll say it tomorrow. And 5 years from now. I'll say it then too. You can't promise that. I can promise what I know in my heart. You promised yourself children before you ever met me. Carter shook his head. Dreams change. So I ruined the dream.
No.
Yes. Carter reached for her arms, but Daphne pulled away immediately. Stop, she snapped. He dropped his hands. Stop trying to make me feel better. I'm trying to reach my wife. Well, maybe your wife doesn't want to be reached right now. The sentence landed painfully between them. Carter stared at her. Is that what you really want? Daphne hesitated. Do you want me to walk out that door? She didn't answer. Because I will give you space if that's what you need, Carter said. But I will not accept you trying to end this conversation because you've decided you're no longer enough for me. Daphne's eyes narrowed. I didn't say I wasn't enough for you. You've said it 10 different ways. She opened her mouth and then stopped. Carter moved toward the desk and leaned against it, giving her more distance. When we talked about marriage, we talked about being partners. That sounded romantic when everything was good. Now we're being tested on whether we actually meant it. Daphne gave a sad laugh. So this is a test now?
No.
I'm saying marriage isn't just showing up when the future looks exactly the way we planned. She glanced toward the window. Outside the office, Forrester employees moved through the hall, completely unaware of the emotional storm unfolding only a few feet away. Carter continued, I want us to meet with another doctor. Not because I'm trying to force you into IVF. I want information. That's all. I don't want to become a science experiment. You won't. You don't know that. Then tell me what you want. I don't know. Her voice cracked again. For the first time since Carter entered the room, Daphne looked truly exhausted rather than angry. She lowered herself into a chair. That's the problem. I don't know what I want anymore. Carter didn't move closer. He waited. I wanted a child, she whispered. I wanted to imagine us choosing names. I wanted to complain about morning sickness. I wanted you to panic when I went into labor. I wanted all those stupid, ordinary things. They're not stupid. They feel stupid now. Why? Because I let myself believe they were guaranteed. Carter shook his head. Nothing in life is guaranteed. I know that now. He watched her carefully. Daphne, IVF isn't an obligation. It's an option. She looked up at him. If you want to explore it, I'll be beside you every step. If you don't want to, I'm still beside you. If you want to talk about adoption someday, we can. If you never want to talk about children again, then I'll learn to accept that too. Daphne frowned. You say that too easily. It isn't easy. Then why aren't you angry? That question surprised him. Angry at what? At me. Carter stared at her. Why would I be angry at you for something you can't control? Because I'm angry at me. There it was. Carter finally understood that this argument had never truly been between the two of them. Daphne was fighting herself, and he had accidentally stepped into the middle of the battle. His voice softened. You think you did something wrong. Daphne looked away. You didn't. Please don't. You didn't. I said stop.
No, not that.
Daphne stood abruptly. Carter continued, I'm not going to stand here and let the woman I love punish herself for something she didn't cause. You can't stop me from feeling what I feel. No, but I can keep reminding you that the feeling isn't the truth. Daphne shook her head as tears rolled down her face. I hate this. Carter's own eyes began to shine. I know. I hate what this has done to me. I know. I hate that every time you look at me, I wonder whether you're thinking about what I can't give you. I'm usually thinking about how much I love you. She gave him an irritated look through her tears. That sounds exactly like something you would say. Because it's true. For a brief moment, Daphne almost smiled, but the emotion disappeared just as quickly. Carter slowly opened his arms, silently asking permission. Daphne stared at him. He took one careful step toward her. She shook her head and backed away.
No.
Carter stopped again. I can't. It's okay. No, it isn't okay, she shouted. Why do you keep saying everything is okay? I'm saying it's okay if you don't want me touching you right now. Daphne stared at him. I'm not saying this situation is okay. Her anger faded slightly. Carter lowered his arms. I'm not going to force comfort on you. I don't want you feeling sorry for me. I don't. You do. I feel sad because you're hurting. That is not the same as feeling sorry for you. Daphne's breathing slowed. Carter continued, and I'm hurting too. That surprised her. You are? Of course I am. Then why haven't you said that? Because every time I try to talk about this, you assume my sadness means I regret marrying you. Daphne fell silent. I'm sad because the future we pictured might change, Carter admitted. I'm sad because I wanted that future too. But sadness isn't resentment. Disappointment in a situation isn't disappointment in you. Daphne looked at him more carefully now. Carter's composure began to crack. And yes, I'm scared. I'm scared IVF could be hard on you. I'm scared we might get our hopes up and be devastated. I'm scared we'll spend months trying and end up even more hurt. But you know what scares me more? Daphne didn't answer. Losing you because you decide I'd be better off without you. Her face changed. Carter walked closer again. This time, she didn't move. I don't want a different wife, he said. I don't want a woman with better odds. I don't want some perfect medical report. I want you. Daphne's eyes closed, and another tear slipped down her cheek. Carter reached toward her face, but she caught his wrist before he touched her. For a second, he thought she would push him away again. Instead, she simply held his wrist. I'm scared, she whispered. I know. No, Carter. I'm really scared. So am I. What if this breaks us? Then we fight for us. What if I can't stop feeling like this? Then we get help. She opened her eyes. Together, he said. Daphne's hand loosened around his wrist. We don't have to solve this alone, Carter continued. We can talk to someone. We can go back to the doctor. We can get another opinion. We can decide not to do anything for 6 months. There is no deadline. But you want a baby. I want a life with you. That's not an answer. It is the answer. Daphne exhaled shakily. Carter smiled faintly. You really want me to say it differently? Yes.
Fine.
If we have a baby, I'll love our child with everything I have. If we don't, I will still wake up every morning grateful that I married you. Daphne finally allowed him to touch her face. His thumb brushed away one of her tears. She whispered, I don't believe you yet. Carter nodded. Then I'll keep telling you until you do. That almost broke her again. She leaned toward him for a moment, and Carter thought she was finally going to let him hold her. But just before his arms closed around her, fear returned to her face. Daphne pushed gently against his chest. I need air. Carter stepped back immediately. She walked toward the door. Daphne. She stopped without turning. We don't have to decide about IVF today. I know, and I'm not going anywhere. Daphne closed her eyes. I know, she whispered. Then she left. Carter remained in the office alone, staring at the closed door. The conversation had not ended the way he hoped. He had wanted to walk out holding his wife's hand. Instead, Daphne had pushed him away again. Yet something had changed. For the first time, she had admitted what was beneath the anger. She was scared. She wasn't rejecting him because she didn't love him. She was trying to protect herself from the possibility that one day he might look at her differently. Carter walked over to the window,